so happy to get across Brooks Range and over Antietam Pass because it was cold. It was snowing. I only had one problem on the way back with the trucker. I tried to pass him and he kept trying to run me off the road. I thought, well, maybe he's trying to tell me something and it's not safe to pass. But it turned out the guy was just being a jerk. And so when he saw me videotaping him, he finally stopped. We had to stop at a construction site. And he got out and said, "Hey, buddy, I'm sorry. I was just trying to help you. I was afraid you'd pass me and it would be too dangerous." And then he let me go in front of him. The guy was just being a jerk. Anyway, getting back here, it was back down to up to 64 degrees, and it felt so nice. And then on the way back, I was tired. I decided to spend the night at Coldfoot. And this is Coldfoot again. There's the hotel over there. It's actually looks like a bunch of single wide trailers all welded together. And this is where the restaurant and the office is. So I asked the guy how much. It was $420 for the room and the meal. But if you don't want to pay, you can actually camp there for free. And this is a look at the room. And I think probably camping would have been a better idea. So they said they had just been remodeled and they were all proud of them, but it wasn't very good remodeling job. This is the back door where I park, so I keep an eye on my bike. And leaving the next morning, this is the back lot behind the hotel. I got to say, though, the bed was comfortable. The shower was one of those plastic inserts, and they had a handicap rail, and when I grabbed the rail to step in, the rail fell off the wall. There's a helicopter. They have a helicopter pad here. I saw that go in and out a couple of times. This is mostly where the construction workers stay, and it's halfway to Prudhoe Bay. And then you take this road out from the hotel and it wraps around the little creek bed there back over to the office. I'd already filled up when I came in yesterday, so no need. I'm just kind of doing a ride around so you can get an idea of Coldfoot, what it looks like. This is it, the hotel and the restaurant. And then it looks like you got a garage down there for repairs or whatever. I think next time I would just camp in my tent. Anyway, heading out back to Fairbanks. I spent the night in Fairbanks on the way back and kind of took the same route. I was going to take a different highway. I heard it was a really nice scenic route, but I was ready to head back down because I'm going to do the national parks in Canada, so I was ready to move out. And I got to tell you, I didn't get a picture of it. Probably about 5 miles down the road here, I was going around a corner and there were some geese in the road, so I slowed down and the geese took off flying and a wolf came right out in front of me, a huge wolf. And he ran off in the woods, but he stopped. So I was trying to get my camera to get a picture of him. And he disappeared. So I put the camera away and took off. And then when I took off, he started chasing me. Chased me for probably, I don't know, a couple of 100 yards, but I took off. So that was my first bear sighting right there. And this was my second one. And I stop and I take video and take pictures. And by the end of the trip, I was just yelling at him to get out of the road. There's so many of them. These are some caribou that were, I didn't want to chase them, but I was trying to turn where I could get a picture of it. I felt bad because I kind of chased them, but got a little bit of a shot of them there. And I saw a few of those. And this little buffalo was so damn cute. He was snorting and threatening to attack me. His mom's got a bad leg. I don't know if you see it when she tries to walk. She can barely limp. And he was going to protect her. He was just the cutest little thing. I had to stand there and watch him for a few minutes. He was so funny. Going to protect Mama. I don't know what these birds are. I took a couple of pictures of them. but they were kind of weird. And there's my first moose. He came crashing out of the woods, and I think we scared each other. Lots of bighorn sheep. They're like the bison. They come down and they'll stay right down at the roadway. Pretty cool. Saw dozens and dozens of them. And here's I don't know what it is, elk or caribou, whatever. Lots of bison. They're all over the place. And like I said, they'll come out and lay in the road, so you got to be careful. And there's a ton of construction. I bet I ran into construction every probably 20 to 50 miles. There's construction going on. Some more bighorn sheep out by the side of the road. There, I'm talking about the wolf in the text. The wolf was pretty cool. I can't believe I didn't get video or something of it. Probably the coolest part of my trip was that wolf chasing me. More buffalo out in the street, bison. And this is a porcupine. I saw one earlier and I couldn't figure out what it was, but it scurried off into the brush, and so I saw this one. I go, oh, okay, that's what it was. It was a porcupine. Quite a few of them. I saw one little baby. It was on the side of a hill right next to the road, and so I stopped to take a picture of it, and it was so scared, I felt bad. I took off. Saw a few musk ox. They're out on the road to Prudhoe Bay right before you get there. Some more elk. This is going into the Jasper and Banff and Glacier National Parks. This was a really cool part of the ride. It's absolutely beautiful country here. Temperature was probably about 50 degrees. It wasn't bad. You know, with my riding gear, I was quite comfortable. These parks are just beautiful, though. I would go back on a heartbeat and ride through these parks. Definitely worth it. I have a national pass for U.S. national parks. Unfortunately, it didn't work there. There's a big old waterfall coming down the side of the mountain right next to the roadway. Really cool. It wasn't even really that busy here in the parks either. There was some traffic, but it wasn't that bad. It was a really nice ride. And even if it's a little bit out of your way, this is definitely worth doing. Just beautiful. Same thing. This is a lake there in the park. I ran into these folks at a little roadside hamburger stand a few days ago, and then I ran into them again here in the national parks. They were very, very nice. They're Canadians, very nice people. Lots of photos. I shared a few of them here, but I took tons and tons. Another waterfall, tons of photos. This was outside Golden, British Columbia, Canada. It was really pretty. I decided to go see my friend Dwayne in Sequim, Washington, and so you take a ferry across. It was fun. This is going across the bridge on the way to his house. That's him in front of me there. Washington's pretty country too, but lots of rain. We did some good riding. It was fun. And then I said goodbye, spent the night, said goodbye, and headed home. I decided to do an ironbutt ride. So this is me setting the odometer and getting my GPS set up. The GPS showed 1,000 miles from Salem, Oregon to my house in Temecula. So I headed out at 3:48 a.m. in the morning, and I couldn't sleep as usual. And so I headed out. Roseburg, Oregon was my first stop. I did 118 miles, 886 miles to go. I had a hard time waking up. I know I left at 3:48 in the morning. My second stop in Medford, 226 miles with 782 to go. And I'm drinking coffee on these stops, and it's not doing any good. It's not waking me up. And so on the third stop in Redding, California, I got a monster drink, and man, that I was friggin' buzzed. And 638 miles to go. I was feeling good. I hit down to Sacramento. This is Sacramento. It was 98 degrees. It was hot. 546 miles with 468 to go. It was a hot day there in Sacramento. This is Santanella, California. 656 miles, 360 to go. This is, I think, 100 something miles north of LA. This is the one with the big Spanish tower. And then Tejon Pass, I stopped because I was thirsty and hot. 806 miles, 209 to go. And I knew I had it made now. A couple hundred miles, that's a piece of cake. So this is heading on the 210 toward the 71. Lots of lightning, so it took a little bit there. And then on the 71, traffic slowed down to about 25 miles an hour for probably about 10 miles. And then I made it home, 1,018 miles, in exactly 18 hours to the minute. And my wife was sitting there waiting for me. She thinks I'm nuts. So the ironbutt wasn't near as hard as I thought it would be. Here's a few suggestions if you plan on doing this ride. Probably one of the best things you can do for your planning is to get the Alaska Milepost. This thing is just packed full of information that you'll use on your route planning and your stops. It tells you the restaurants, the gas stations, pretty much everything you need. And if you buy the hard copy, you get the digital copy for free. So I put it on my iPad and carried that instead of carrying this big old book. It's pretty heavy. Then the riding gear. I used the Harley Davidson Adventure gear. It was great. It has a waterproof and cold weather liner. Climb makes very similar gear, priced about the same, but it kept me warm in the cold and cool in the hot weather. This is something I probably wouldn't take again. This was a 2-gallon bladder. This thing, it served its purpose, but when riding in altitude and hot weather, this thing swells up, and it got so big I thought it was going to bust a couple of times. I ended up venting it. The nice thing is nobody recognized it as a gas bladder, so I could take it in my hotel rooms with me. But I did have to vent it a couple of times. It was so swollen up. I used these buckled straps. They came in really handy. They're easy to use, take on and off. I used it to strap my gas bladder on the back of my bike and my tea bag onto the panniers. This was probably one of the best buys, was my windproof, waterproof socks. They kept my feet dry. So even though my boots were soaked and frozen, all I had to do was stand up, wiggle my toes and legs, and my feet were good to go because they were dry. These were a good buy. Once you leave Fairbanks and head toward Prudhoe Bay, there's no premium gasoline. So you're doing about there and back close to 1,000 miles. And so it'd be a good idea to take some octane booster, especially if you prefer to ride with premium. Anyway, thanks for watching. If you have any questions, just leave them in the comments below. Thanks again. Bye.